Fellow Gambians, my name is Ambassador Isa Bokar C. The case study before us today is what affects the Car Dealership Association in the Gambia, a very important structure for that matter, a structure that is an important arm of the economy, and it is also a structure that creates employment in the hundreds or even in the thousands. This structure, the contents of what was found in our drop box of society's concerns, has definitely been facing challenges, and it should not be the case. We keep questioning ourselves all the time. Why do we have a mass exodus of our youth taking the risky route through Mali, Niger, Bakwe, then to Lampedusa or Barza in Spain or Italy? Well, one of the causes is that there is no hope at home and there is no employment. Had we strengthened structures like the Car Dealership Association, or one can also include, I can call it the subsidiaries like car rentals, today most of our youth would have been enjoying some ways of being breadwinners at home. But the contrary is happening. We all understand the hurdles and the obstacles that structures like the Car Dealership Association is facing in the Gambia. One of which is an outcome of a leadership and an establishment whose vision is blurry. No projections, no anticipatory intelligence to pave the way for what serious governments would call operational policies. Now, let's not expand it to any other thing. We'll remain on the specific today, which is the Car Dealership Association. We all know that they had their locations along the Batil Hadian Highway. Some call it the Senegambia Highway. And they have been thriving and, of course, employing a lot of our youth, or one can say citizens. And in any other country, car dealerships can, in fact, be decorations for roads that are coming from the airport or the seaport to enter the greater Banjul area, or maybe to enter the urban area of that particular country. In this case, ours is the greater Banjul area. These dealers have definitely been carrying the yoke of frustration and hopelessness on their shoulders for years. In fact, they were dislodged from their locations with barren promises that do not conceive anything. First of all, they were asked to relocate to an area near the airport. When they relocated, they used their own funds to clear the area with their bulldozers and everything, before even thinking of now heaving a sigh of relief. They were told that it was not a suitable place for them to be, which is a failure in terms of planning and projections and anticipatory intelligence. Again, they were told you can't be here because wherever human beings gather, the likelihood of eating is more possible than impossible. And then people can eat their sandwiches, bananas, throw them, and then it can attract birds. And the presence of birds in that area could be risky for departing flights in particular. For all flights, but more dangerous for departing flights. Well, that in itself is nerve-wracking, if one is to say the least. Those who relocated them there, was it not planned? Of course not. It is the trial and error formula again. And the other thing is that they were asked to relocate to the Kotu Central Workshop. At the Kotu Central Workshop, challenges became worse, because it is where scrap metal are, other machines that belong to the former president, I think some helicopters maybe even there, and the army is still there. And that gate usually is closed by 6 p.m. every day. So a car dealer who has their cars at the Kotu Central Workshop, and then it's 6 p.m., what about if you have agreed with a delegation coming or a tourist coming, and then they are flying into the Gambia after 6 p.m.? It means that car dealership will lose business, and the delegations they are going to receive or the tourists will also definitely be stranded at the airport. That's not a serious way to work. What I want to make clear is that if I were to be elected the President of the Republic of the Gambia within a structure, what we will do is to make sure that the arbitrary relocation of those car dealerships will be resolved. If there are places given to people simply because they are being favored or anointed, we will resort to law to redress that situation. One of the worst things one can observe along the battle-hardened highway is where some businessmen who are anointed are left to be erecting gas stations. Some of them are not even 100 meters or 200 meters apart, which is very dangerous. In fact, if you use security assessment between risks and benefits, the risky part of having a gas station within the community is higher than having a car dealership. So not only is it about economy, but it's also about security. So this is it. Now, the other thing is that the car dealership is one of the biggest employers. We wonder why the biggest employer is being weakened and their limbs are being hacked. And then those who will be erecting these gas stations, who would not hire more than 2-3 people, are left there. That is one of the reasons why unemployment is high. And the other thing is drifters. These are interlinked. There was a time I spoke about the drifters. Some of the youngsters, I think, heard me suggest that it is an activity that can be recognized as sports. I'm being very honest here, not politically correct, but politically honest. okay, that if I were to be elected a president in the country, we will have what we can call the drifter section at the licensing department. People will be issued licenses and it will be marked on it drifter. We cannot just say, oh, it doesn't happen anywhere in the world. Things that happen in the world rise from innovation, observation and derivation of facts first. We will also identify a place where these drifters will be taken to survey, look at it, approve of it, and then we can transform it into a sporting event. It is the same way that Formula One driving was created. It is the same way that the Paris-Dakar race was created. It is the same way that the Derby horse race thoroughbred in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, United States of America was created. Something that is not happening elsewhere doesn't mean that it cannot happen in the Gambia. We can innovate it. But if you look at it, the Car Dealership Association, in fact, some of us wonder why, when there is this so-called Meet the People tour every year, the same practice, the archaic formula is still being repeated, impounding vehicles, calling them because the big man is going to the country, so all of your vehicles will be impounded. And people will laugh about it and think that is the show of power. No. Why wouldn't the government, in fact, patronize the car dealerships? With the gas that is being put in those cars, if you transform it into cash or a payment method, you invite the car dealerships, you can rent, and then they will be fueling their cars. It will save government vehicles because you are not losing. What you are using, coupons and everything, the gas that is being spent on those government vehicles, project vehicles, if that gas is turned into money and given to the car dealership, it will be cheaper and they will fuel their cars. In fact, most likely those car dealerships will give the government extra cash just to support the process. So the Car Dealership Association is dead and it should be unburied. Then we'll look at the cause of the death. We can then clone and bring back something that is better. We have to be serious as a nation. And that is one of the case studies we have today. We'll be bringing case studies of matters that affect the citizens. We are not going to go around in this traditional way of running around, making noise everywhere as politicians. No, we'll be treating every aspect that affects the society on a case-by-case basis. Today, it was the car dealership. We'll be touching on every aspect of life so that the Gambians will know we are following, we are concerned, we meet them cluster by cluster, region by region, constituency by constituency. It's not only to get signatures or to talk to people to support. No, we are also listening to their concerns and will be coming to be treating them to raise awareness during this wave or caravan of sensitization for people to know what's happening. And we remain concerned because these are the things that affect them and these are the things we will address and some of it redress when we come to power, inshallah.